For those of you who don't know me, my name is Allie Burke. I am a mental illness advocate and best-selling author. I am the CEO and co-founder of the Stigma Fighters nonprofit organization, and in the daytime, I am a communications professional. All right, so I hope you guys are doing well. It is the first day of my 5-day vacation. I had a lovely self-care day in which I did clean my bathroom, I will say that, and I did do some homework. But after that, I slept all day. I had a huge burger from one of my favorite local places. I washed my hair. As you can see, I used a coffee scrub. My skin is very soft. So what's new? Oh, couple comments I wanted to address. One comment I was not able to respond to for some reason. I can see it, but I can't respond to it. So that comment asked how the presentation went on Monday. It went really, really great. I stumbled a little bit in the beginning because I was nervous, but it went really well. Everyone, all the executives were very impressed of everything we were able to get accomplished in the last year, despite the pandemic and a lot of other challenges that we had. We had a lot of questions, a lot of great feedback, and even some executives offering to help us in the next year get connected with different groups and different departments and stuff. So it was great. So thank you so much for asking about that. Another question I got: how many tattoos do I have? I have 7. I have these 4, 2 on my back and 1 on my ankle. So and then somebody else commented that they thought it was great that I am not ashamed of being schizophrenic or taking the time I need to rest and stuff like that. So I thought that was really nice. So thank you so much. So I'm on vacation. I am on vacation for 5 days starting today. So I'm on vacation until Monday. Monday will be my last day. Monday in the US is, of course, Memorial Day, but every 7 years on Memorial Day is also my birthday. I was born on May 31st, so I will be turning 35 on Monday. So, yeah. All right, so we're gonna finish chapter 3. We get to meet Elias for the first time, which is very exciting. I do love this introduction to Elias. I wrote this book so long ago. It was my debut novel. I think I was like early 20s or something when I wrote it. So it's very like romantic, but I still love it. So anyway, okay, let's get into it. Oh, another subscriber said I read too fast. I apologize. I'm a very fast reader. So I'll try to slow it down a little bit. All right, here we go. Elias walked into his new house, sighing at all the boxes littering the floor. It was a small house, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and a living room with a medium-sized kitchen attached to it. In the living room, he only had a leather couch and chair, a 42-inch flat-screen television, and an oak dining table by the kitchen. Everything else was scattered all over the house in boxes. He had no decorations or paintings on the walls yet. It was all very plain at the moment. He had just moved to Hazel Grove, a small winery town just outside of Jasmine Lake. He moved from Hayward, Washington, where he had resided his entire life. He had lived in a big Victorian home with his parents and his twin brother, Liam, until they got an apartment together. 15 years later, Liam was murdered. Elias and Liam were like a lot of twins, inseparable and completely opposites. Liam was gay, but that didn't change their relationship. Liam was Elias's brother, not some gay guy that he was ashamed of. Their parents didn't feel the same way. They were in the law business, his mother, Supreme Court judge, and his father, the assistant DA. As far as Mr. and Mrs. Linden were concerned, a gay son was an abomination. They disowned Liam. Luckily, he still had Elias. He always would. The death of Liam had practically killed Elias. He developed migraines and chest pains. Getting out of bed was a battle that he rarely won. Elias and Liam had loved the rain since they were children. The sound of it tapping the tin roof of their back shed was heartwarming. It drowned out the sounds of their parents fighting. It was beautiful to watch through the upstairs windows. As the twins got older, they couldn't break their love affair with the rain. It reminded them of life, of survival of their childhood and their parents. Every time it rained after Liam died, which was most days in Washington, Elias was lost. He didn't know what to do with himself. He had to get out of that town where he was constantly reminded of his lost brother. When he found the small town of Hazel Grove, just minutes from his favorite aunt, his spirits were lifted right away. An art gallery owner was interested in his work less than a mile away. It was perfect. Elias removed his jacket and sat down on the couch. He rubbed his temples. When he thought about his odd encounter tonight, he felt a headache developing. One minute he was speaking to some guy that babbled way too much about who knows what, and he was suddenly compelled to look away. When he looked around, though, no one looked disturbed. But then there was music. He couldn't make out the song, but he definitely heard singing. He remembered walking in the direction of the noise, but after a few steps he had to stop. He physically could not move, like his feet were buried in concrete. He knew he said something like, huh. He felt very weird after that, hollow, like cracking a nutshell to find no peanut inside. When Lily called his name, he was depressed. It wasn't the same grief for his brother. This was something he didn't recognize. It wasn't until Lily came over to him and took hold of his arm that he was able to move his feet again. There was something else. He could have sworn he saw purple glitter floating around the gallery for the rest of the night, and the whole place smelled like some kind of herb, minty. He rubbed his temples again. Elias got up and went to the kitchen to make a midnight breakfast. He couldn't stop thinking about what a weird night it was. While the eggs and bacon cooked, he went to the counter where the spice rack sat, just to see if he could match the scent. Basil, cumin, oregano, ginger, rosemary. Elias grabbed the small canister of the chopped green herb and opened the top. He took a whiff and was so startled by the herby scent that his arm flinched and he sprayed half the contents of the canister onto his face. Shit, he said aloud, wiping his face with his hand. This was the scent looming around the gallery all night. He walked away from the spice rack to remove the various pans from the heat of the stove. He scooped all of his food up on a plate and sat down at the table. He lifted his fork, and immediately he dropped it back onto the plate. It clanked. He wasn't even hungry. He cooked because he should eat, not because he had an appetite. He couldn't force it down tonight. He was too tired. He let the food slide off the plate into the trash can and threw his dish into the sink. He walked to his bedroom that was empty except for a bed with just one cotton sheet. Elias didn't sleep with a blanket. He always felt hot, as if he had an ongoing fever that would never break. He undressed and showered, a cold shower. It wasn't because of his unusual evening. Elias liked his showers frosty. They cooled him off, even if it was just for a few minutes before he began to feel like he was burning alive again. Elias came out of the bathroom with a white towel wrapped around his waist. He put on some cotton boxers and rolled into his single sheet. A lot went through his mind when he was trying to fall asleep. He had been raised so strictly, sent away to boarding school as soon as he was old enough, along with Liam. Their parents dressed them in expensive clothing from when they were babies and forced them to start wearing dress pants and collared shirts as soon as they could fit in them. They were constantly influenced by their parents to be successful, rich. Elias's father told him he was going to be a great lawyer when he was 6. Elias didn't want any of that. The arts were his escape. The vivid colors on a canvas really spoke to him, blended together to tell him their story. He felt abandoned. Liam was gone. His parents, well, they didn't count. They didn't care about anything but themselves and their status. They only had children because it was expected of them. Neither of his parents missed a beat when Liam passed away, like it was bound to happen eventually, like they were just waiting for their son to die. Elias turned on his side. He felt sick. Elias finally drifted into a restless sleep. He tossed and turned so much that at one point during the night he fell off his bed. Not really realizing where he was, he turned his head to get up and hit it on the corner of the iron bed frame. He He rose from the floor and went into the kitchen. He flipped on the switch to turn on the kitchen light, shielding his eyes from the brightness of it with the back of his hand. He decided to make some tea. Maybe it would help him sleep. He filled a small saucepan with water from the tap and heated it up. He went to the pantry to retrieve some tea. He saw the open canister sitting on the counter, half filled with rosemary. He emptied some of the minty herb into his palm and dashed a few sprinkles in the pan of boiling water. He poured it in a mug and steeped the tea bag. He plopped himself in his black leather recliner and drank it. Elias let out a long breath after a few sips. His head felt clear, the cloudiness of his thoughts finally thinning. He got up from his chair and left the half-full mug of tea on the table. He walked lazily down the hallway and fell face first on his bed. He was asleep as soon as his head hit the soft cotton. It was then that he experienced the most peculiar dream. There was a woman standing as still as a statue in the middle of Lily's gallery. She was barefoot, her purple painted toenails glimmering up at him. He took in her appearance, a little confused by her torn jeans and dirt-stained t-shirt. He looked at her face, and he was mesmerized. She was beautiful. Her hair was red, not orange, but really red, crimson. The woman's eyes were a deep emerald green, so illuminated that he saw his reflection in them. She looked wild and free. She looked around, and then she started singing. She did a cute little spin, and she was dancing. There were several people around her, but no one looked at her. It was as if Elias was the only one who could see her. It was absurd and hilarious, and the foremost terrific display Elias had ever seen. Elias woke up laughing hysterically, so loudly that he had to bend over and put his head between his knees to muffle the sound of his deep guffaw, so as not to wake the neighbors. He was eventually able to contain himself, and he fell back asleep. His headache was gone, only a smile remained. Alright, so that is chapter 3 of Violet Midnight. I probably won't be back until next week sometime. I have a busy weekend with family for my birthday, and Monday, I don't know what I'm doing yet. We'll see. Maybe I'll make a video on Monday, I don't know. Anyway, hope you guys have a good weekend. Hope you're enjoying the book, and I'll talk to you soon. Alright, bye.